Okay, so by now you've gone all the way around your quilt and you've got all of your binding sewed down and you're ready to join your ends. And you left those big long tails, and it's important to leave those big long tails because you can cut them down when you need to. But it's also important to stop between your two pieces of binding and leave yourself plenty of room to work, because this next part is fiddly and you're going to have to allow yourself room to work. So you take I usually take the leading end of my binding, the one where I started sewing, and you just lay it down along your binding. And this is your end tail, which I've already cut off because I always make too much binding. And you lay it right on top of that. And then you see where that other binding is. Now this is a piece of the binding that I cut off. And then I ironed it out flat so that I could see really well where to measure, because you use this to measure the same width as your binding. So it's 2.5 inches. And so you lay it right there on your little edge. That's your leading binding. This is your ending binding. And you lay that down so that you know where 2.5 inches is. And then you mark that piece of binding. And if you want to use a ruler, you can. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But you're just going to kind of make sure that you get a line that you can cut on that's fairly straight. And then you're just going to cut off that tail along that edge and lay that aside. Now comes the fun part. So you're going to open up both ends of your binding. This is your ending tail. This is your beginning tail. And remember, when you made your binding, you had to have your right sides together. And that's exactly what you're going to do. And this is why I told you need to leave yourself room to work, because you're going to bring these together and make your last join. And Lord, I hope this works out, because that would be embarrassing. I've done 4 or 5 of these and